You've claimed in recent weeks that critical race theory isn't being taught in schools. You've claimed that most American public school students learn what you call Confederate race theory and are taught that slavery was, quote, not so bad. You've claimed that state legislation will prevent schools from teaching about the history of racism. And finally, you've claimed that critical race theory isn't rooted in the philosophical tradition of Marxism. And I think that all four of those claims are wrong, and I'd love to discuss them tonight.
Okay, let's go through some of this. All right, so the first thing, and we're going to talk about the politics, because I'm going to challenge you a bit on whether or not you're political operative. I read this is your talking points memo that you've put out that definitely seems to be working, because you've seen people like Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio use a lot of the verbiage that you suggest and a lot of the framing that you suggest that they should use in talking about critical race theory. I also watched your video, very highly produced, like well-produced video, in which you make a lot of claims, some of which I just want to go through very quickly. First of all, I found a couple factual errors. When do you say that critical race theory was created? So critical theory was created in the 1960s, and then critical race theory was based in the late 80s, the late 1980s and early 1990s. That's actually not true. So I went on Harvard University, which is where critical race theory was born, at Harvard Law School. It actually happened in 1981. Professor Derek Bell and some of his students, including Kimberly Crenshaw. So we've confirmed that. So that's actually not true. Let me go through one other thing, because you make a lot of allegations, my friend, a lot of allegations. You talk about, particularly in your video, that people, these professors, these professorial types who you even acknowledge are academics, that they are looking to do such things as replace equality with equity, which is a conservative charge that, you know, since I was in high school, they've been saying that, to ending individual property rights, and even to committing reverse genocide or calling for reversed genocide. I know you're a filmmaker by trade. You're a documentary filmmaker. Yeah, you use the term reverse genocide in your.
No, that's actually that's factually incorrect.
What you did, and so you know, we can't play it because we're not going to pay you to play your video. But
sure,
that's what you talk
hold
about.
on, Joy. You can play the tape. This is a term. The term is actually counter genocide.
One moment.
And it comes
counter genocide. And what is your evidence
of that? It comes from a book called Rethinking Ethnic Studies, which is rooted in the critical race theory tradition. It's not my term that I'm loading onto it. I'm simply quoting a book that is cited in California's model ethnic studies curriculum. I think that's horrible. You think that's horrible. We can agree about that. But you can't misrepresent where it comes from, who's promoting it.
Okay, this devolved into a really, and not a shouting match. She's just trying to dominate it, and Joy Reid was obviously intimidated by the facts. I want to bring in now Scott Mineo, who's the head of Parents Against Critical Race Theory. Scott, I got to turn it over to you. Last night, Joy Reid, here's the new line of attack. They're saying, hey, this is just some esoteric thing that Derek Bell and the guys at Harvard Law School, and by the way, I think Derek Bell was one of President Obama's chief mentors at Harvard Law School. Derek Bell and these guys at Harvard. This is kind of an esoteric, tiny little thing about law school, and you guys have all of a sudden, you've loaded everything in there because you're angry and you don't want to really talk about the systemic racism that has got this country as nothing but a bunch of racists, all this concept about whiteness. I want to turn it over to you. You're at the heart of this. Is it just is Joy Reid right, as she was like just taking the mic away from Rufo? Is it just some sort of esoteric thing from a law school? Or is it broader than that, sir?
Well, there's two points there. I think Joy Reid is an idiot, first of all, because what she is doing, and she doesn't even realize it, is the pioneers of critical race theory actually use the terms critical race theory. Ibram Kendi uses the term critical race theory. And she had a segment the other day, by the way, where she said this is a right-wing conspiracy that's being paid for by large GOP donors. I've got news for you. I've been doing this for a year. I've been exposing our school system for a year. I've been exposing the NAACP that's deeply rooted in our school system and others around the country for over a year. My grass needs to be cut. That's how grassroots I am. So I think it's insulting for this lady on TV to make such wild suggestions. It's ridiculous, and she's trying to cover up. Things are getting hot, and they don't know what to say because they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So they have to deflect, and what they don't realize is this goes well beyond just trying to make this a anti-white thing. There is a lot of danger and harm that comes to the minority communities, every flavor in the minority community. These people want to ignore that. They want to ignore the fact that they're turning them into victims for no reason. They're ignoring the fact that they are trying to suggest that minorities don't have the mental wherewithal to do the studies and to keep up with other people. That's insulting for every race in this country.
It's insulting. It's also not true. I mean, this is what I say. They can compete with anybody. It's just not true. Just real quickly, though, are you part of some vast right-wing conspiracy? Are you funded by huge right-wing? Are you by big Republican donors? Are they writing big checks for you guys every day? Are you part of that?
No, it's me and a keyboard. That's what it is. I have donors around the country that have been kind enough to donate because they believe in what I'm doing. They believe in what I'm bringing out. They believe in the exposure of the corruption in Loudoun County because, like I said, the NAACP is deeply embedded in here. I've proved it. I've got more evidence of it. The Democrats are involved in it here as well. And I'm doing this on my own. There's no outside special interest group paying me to do this. I've taken 4 months off from my job to do this. I am not collecting a paycheck so I can focus on this. So I take exception to the fact that these people, and like that idiot Terry McAuliffe is suggesting this is a right-wing conspiracy that is not true.
Real quickly, we crammed for time. We're going to get you back on. We spend a couple of segments and go through in detail because you're doing great work. But I just want to make sure, because their defense now is that critical race theory is not even part of critical theory. It's just some sort of esoteric thing from law schools, has nothing to do with the poison that's being put into the minds of school children of every race, of every ethnicity, of every religion, of every gender in our country. Is that, in your mind, is that they just don't understand it, or are they lying? Are Joy Reid and all the people that are now taking this defense, is that a lie?
It's a flat-out lie. The superintendent in our county continues to say that critical race theory is not in our school systems. I've proven time and again that it is. I've given him a memo that came from his organization from their equity partner for a line item billing expense titled Critical Race Theory Development. I've provided them their own documentation from their equity consultant, whose basis for their training is based around those three words, critical race theory. And finally, there's a document 050-19 that came from the State of Virginia Department of Education Office of Superintendent that glorifies those three words and all of the tenets underneath it, critical race theory. So every turn they try to lie, I have the evidence that doesn't suggest it proves otherwise.
Scott, real quickly, how do people get to your site? How do they support you? How do they find out more information about the fight and the crusade that you're leading?
I've got two websites, parentsagainstcrt.com and stoplcpscrt.com. I do have donation buttons at the top of the screens of both websites. And it's just me. It's not grassroots. So you can look at the one website and know it's been done by Johnny, Johnny come lately,
Yeah. No, we see you as you're the head of the vast right-wing conspiracy. We can see you at your keyboard. Sure, thank you very much. We're going to we're going to have you on here so we can drill down. Thank you very much.